All right, so let's dive into the numbers for December of 2023 versus December of 2022. And the reason we do this monthly summary versus our 7-day market report, our 7-day market report is so that you can have real-time activity. We look at new properties that have come on the market and new properties that have gone under contract, and we compare those numbers so that we can see what the actual market activity is in that short-term span, so that you can make real-time decisions, whether you're a buyer or a seller. Real time what's going on with the market. Then we do these monthly reviews so that we can see how the month performed, so that we don't get too caught up in the minutia, because the minutia goes up and down like this. But then we get a bigger view of what the trend is and what the market seems to be doing, so we can kind of predict potentially what's going to happen in the future. That among other factors, but it just gives us a good idea. Okay, so let's dive into the numbers of December of 2023 versus December of 2022. All right, so the number of new listings, you can see right here, December 2022, we actually had more listings in 2023 than we did in 2022. And that's the first time in several months that 2023 was not higher than 2022. So what this indicates is, number one, sellers have kind of had what we're calling, in the industry, we're calling it golden handcuffs, because they purchase properties over a period of about 2 or 3 years with extremely low interest rates. And so having that extremely low interest rate, 2.5% to 3.5% to 4%, it's very difficult for a seller that wants to move up or wants to make a lateral move, doesn't have to move, it's optional. It's very difficult for them to give up the low interest rate property to move into another property, because they may not be able to afford what they want because of the higher interest rates. Well, now that the interest rates are starting to come down, we're seeing sellers that are willing to come into the market. And so that's why we see this little uptick of inventory versus 2022. Now, it was still lower than November of 23, but that's normal because it was the holiday. We lose a lot of time there. Then we go over here to the number of sales, and we had a higher number of sales than we did in December. Actually, we had December of 2022 had a higher number of sales than December of 2023 did. So that explains what we're going to see a little bit further down here. So we'll go ahead and jump down here. You can see the days on market were a little bit longer. And what happened is, so buyer activity is starting to pick up. We're starting to see multiple offers and increased multiple offers, which we talked about on our weekly market report. But what ended up happening is, because the sellers are seeing the interest rates coming down, they're starting to willing to come on the market. So that inventory is growing a little bit faster than during the holidays the buyer demand did, because buyers are traveling, their focus went off of buying new houses. So that inventory has gone up. So what we're expecting to see happen is, here in January, almost all of these listings that are on the market right now are going to be sold, and then we're going to start getting into those February bidding wars and so on. And again, we're seeing the bidding wars already start happening now. But December did have a higher days on market. We can see in December 2022, it was 29 days. Here it was 35 days. If you look at months of inventory, December was 5 months of inventory. So again, anything 5 or 6 months is considered a somewhat normal market. Anything below 5 months or below that 6-month mark is considered a seller's market. Anything above that 6 months is considered a buyer's market. So it's been kind of a weak seller's market for the last 2 months of 2023. But we've still seen prices going up because the inventory has been too low for buyer demand. Even though it's been the weaker side of the seller market, it's still been a seller's market. Median sales price for December of 2023, we're sitting at 1.19. December of 2022, we were sitting at 1.125. So prices have not come down. Appreciation certainly slowed over 2023 in general, but it was still appreciating. It just wasn't appreciating at 7 to 10 to 15% like it was. It was appreciating at 2 to 4 to 5%. So appreciation did still happen. 2023, if you bought in 2023, you still saw appreciation in your property values. Keep in mind median sales price. We go over this each month, but I want to do it again. So median sales price is a number that is used statistically to determine median sales, to try to determine what the housing market is doing. It's not completely accurate. But it's the best guess that statisticians can do, because if you used average sales price, you would end up having some skewing based on higher or lower sale prices. What happens with median sales prices is they take all the total home sales, the one that falls right in the middle, that's the median sales price. So in this example here, we've got 3 million, 2.7, 1.65, 1.5, 500, 350, 275, 225, 220. So 500's median sales price in this in this month. Month number 2, these were all the sales. And this is just an example. In this month, these were all the sales. And you can see that all of these sales were higher than the previous month. But the median number, the one that fell, there 4 above and 4 below, was 400. So if you only use the median sales price as your determination of what the market is doing, this goes whether the market's going up or down, which we just saw in December, the market went up. But if you only use the median sales price, you're not getting all the information, because based just on median sales price in these 2 examples, you would see that the median house price for month 1 was 500,000, month 2 was 400,000. There's 400, there's 500. So between month 1 and month 2, that's a 20% decline. So the news is going to tell you, hey, the house market's crashing, median house sales prices are down 20%. So in your mind, psychologically, you think, well, now I can get a $500,000 house for $400,000. That's not the case. It just means that that's where those numbers fell. This $400,000 house is still worth $400,000, and the $500,000 house is still worth $500,000. In fact, probably a little bit more because of appreciation. So to determine if property values are actually coming down, you have to look at the comps for the property, see what the property was selling at, what it's selling at now, what the market demand is. There's a lot of factors with that. So median sales price is just kind of a little bit of a guide, but it's not the end-all be-all determination of what's happening in the market. So we can look at what happened with list price versus sales price ratio. So in December 2022, we were just under 99% of list to sales price. And December of 2023, we were a little bit lower. So we're still 98.4, almost 98.5. This is probably 98.6. So even though the list to sales price ratio is showing that it's a little bit under asking price, we're still in the 98th. So basically what's happening in the market is appreciation has certainly slowed down, or had slowed down because of the interest rates, and we went into the fall season, but we are expecting the market activity to increase significantly over the next several months as we go into the spring market and as the interest rates continue to come down. So keep an eye on our weekly market reports, and then we'll do our monthly summaries. And those monthly summaries come out around the middle of each month for the previous month, because we have to wait for all the data to be inputted into the multiple listing service so those numbers can be as accurate as possible. All right, we'll see you on next month's report, and hopefully you have a great January.